planner friends. Today's video is going to be a plan with me for baby week. This was the week of my induction. I am using a Caress Press kit. I don't even remember what it was called, but it's a Caress Press kit, and I actually purchased like a lot of these little baby kits because I didn't know which ones or which one I was going to use, and I ended up settling on this one because I liked the imagery and I don't know, the bright colors and whatnot. And then I'm also using this Pixie pack from Planner Pixie Co. And then that kit didn't come with any checklists, so I made my own checklists. And yeah, so I'm just going to kind of tell you a little bit about, I guess, a birth story, I don't know, and just how I was feeling, and just talk a little bit, I guess. I'm going to try not to get emotional. I've tried to record this once, and I don't know how much I should share because I don't know how much you guys want to know. But the first thing I want to say is that this has been the hardest, well, one of the hardest parts has been that after I had Marcus, I had a worse case than what I thought of postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety. Like, it never was actually like officially diagnosed, but I know that's what it was because I know that now. I guess I did know that then, but I know that now because I feel 100, like a completely 180 difference between having Marcus and having Dorothy. I don't remember much anything. I just remember how hard it was. I remember I couldn't breastfeed Marcus because his arms would get in the way, and I didn't have enough hands to keep his hands out of his face, hold him, position my boob. Like, I couldn't do it, and I'd have to yell, "Zach, I need help," and wake him up to have, to come do that. And I wasn't making milk, so Marcus was like dehydrated as his first pediatrician appointment. I lost 20 pounds because I wasn't eating. I only got out of bed because people said, "Hey, you need to get out of bed." And otherwise I would have just stayed there. And I'm sorry. I'm now realizing that even up until December of that year, of 2019, I had just wanted to disappear. I wanted it to all stop. And now I'm a completely different person. After having Dorothy, I came home, I vacuumed, I unpacked bags, I got out of bed, I ate food, I took a shower. I haven't taken a shower in a couple of days now because sleep has been more important. But I functioned normally. I washed some clothes, I took care of the baby. No one's been like, "Hey, you need to do this. It's your responsibility." I just did it. And so I've been going through a period, I guess, of mourning, not appreciating and not remembering and not being very present for Marcus's newborn phase, when I can completely be that person that for Dorothy, and I can, just, I don't know, remember anything. But I don't remember anything of Marcus being a little tiny baby. I literally don't. And then on top of that, after having Marcus, we did move. I had him in end of August, and we moved to outside of Detroit in October, October 1st. So, it was a lot going on, but yeah, I don't remember any of that. So the first thing is I have been going through a period of mourning when it comes to just the differences and not being there, not being able to be the person that I can be for Dorothy, for Marcus. So that's, I don't know, the intro to this is, that's what I'm struggling with right now, or what I have been struggling with. I'm not so much struggling with it anymore, but that's what I've been thinking about recently. So I'm just going to try to go through and not give too much details of what happened on Monday the 10th when we went in. So we went in, and our appointment was at 8 o'clock, and we didn't get there till 8:30. And I had called them, and I said, "We're supposed to have an appointment at 8 o'clock. We're in traffic. We're not going to be there till 8:30. And the nurse answered the phone, and she goes, "Oh, are you Morgan?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Okay, well, first of all, calm down. It's not that serious." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so she was like, "Just get here when you get here." So we got there at 8:30. Had to do some cervical checks, which I guess they don't necessarily have to. Prior to this, did not mind a cervical check. I knew it was going to be uncomfortable, but Dorothy's was so far down, there was nowhere for her to go. I wasn't dilated. I wasn't what's it called, efface. Like there was nowhere for her to go, but she was so far down that she was like pushing whatever that tissue is out, and so that was pushing my cervix back, and so they had to like reach around her head. Your fingers aren't long enough to do this. Reach around her head, behind her head, to see if they could feel my cervix, and that shit was brutal. Pardon my French. And it actually was kind of traumatizing, and this is the part I had a hard time like talking about when I was trying to film this or trying to record this earlier. It was really traumatizing. So much so that they had said, you have to have another cervical check before we can do your epidural. And I was like crying in the hallway because it was so brutal. And after one of them, it hurt so much. They were like, we can give you this like medicine. I don't know what it was. I don't remember, but they're like, it'll knock you out and make you high as a kite, really. And I mean, you'll just melt into the bed. And I was like, please give me that. And I'm actually kind of glad they did, because I kind of think it was traumatizing, but I kind of think it like blocked it out, which is like horrible. But anyway, so I did that, and I was floating around pretty much. And then, I was fine, but I think it was about like, I don't know, everything happened so fast on Monday, and I have recounted this story multiple times, and I think I've waited too long to record this voiceover because I don't heckin' remember any of it. But I don't think it was like 10 o'clock. I got this like cervical ripening medication because nothing was happening. I was 2 centimeters dilated like a week before, but they were like, I don't really know if that was real. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I got that, and then I got Pitocin, and then, I had another like really brutal check, and then I got that medicine that like made me high. And then after that, after I came down and was like, okay, they were like, we're going to have you walk around for a little bit. And like I said, all of this happened so fast. I literally did not think I was going to have this child. We got there at 8 and she was born at 10 p.m. Like 8 a.m. and she was born at 10 p.m. So I did not think it was going to happen this fast. So got hooked up to a monitor to walk around, and I ended up walking around 3 laps around the ward there, and the nurse was like, okay, I'm gonna turn down this Pitocin because you are like having lots of contractions. And I was like, yep, girl, you're right. And so then I walked around again, and she was like, okay, this next lap is going to be your last lap because you're having really, really ridiculous contractions. And I was like, you're right. And so then I walked around again and went back in the room, and they're like, okay, we're going to do your epidural now. And so I was like, okay, great. So for some reason they had to send Zach out. Like last time with Marcus, Zach was there helping, not helping, but like helping me, to get the epidural. I squeezed the frick out of this nurse's hands, when I got this epidural, because I did not have any confidence in the anesthesiologist, because, he had done something, and all I hear from behind me is, uh-oh, oh no, uh-oh, oh no, oh no. And I'm like, bro, excuse me, what's happening? And I'm like trying to stay calm, all while I'm squeezing the frick out of this nurse's hands, who I think is a brand new nurse. And her name was Morgan. And I'm like, I am so sorry. Thank you so much. But I am squeezing your hands to death. And so she was really great. She was like talking me through like what's happening, all this stuff. But what had happened is that somehow some catheter or whatever that they did had accidentally punctured through the membrane around my spine. So when they they had to move it. I don't know if you guys can hear the dogs barking. So then they had to move it. And so because of that, there was a tiny puncture in that membrane, and spinal fluid was leaking out into my body. And so after they get me all done, and like they're like, okay, we have to roll you over this way. We have to roll you over this way. So they rolled me over, and they're like, great. And then they had me on the monitors, and like, baby's doing great. They rolled me over the other way, and they're like, we can't get the baby back on the monitors, so you're gonna have to roll this way. And all this time, I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna be a little bit. So we'll FaceTime with Marcus. So Zach calls his mom. We're gonna talk to Marcus, and he's like, okay, just wait a second. Like, it'll take a minute. And they ended up being like, well, now we can't get the baby back. And it just kept taking longer and longer and longer. So then they're like, okay, well, we'll just do a cervical check or something. I don't know. So we ended up hanging up with Marcus. I never got to talk to him. He did see me though, because he got me a hippo from like Legoland or someplace outside of Legoland, and I had brought it to the hospital. And so he was like, "Oh, that's the hippo." I heard him say that, and so I'm just rolling around like a beached whale in this bed, and like, we can't get the baby on the monitor, so we're gonna roll you back this way. And then they had said I had to have a cervical check prior to getting the epidural, but then they talked to my doctor, and my doctor was like, you can just get it afterwards, because you can't feel anything. So all it's gonna be is pressure, and I could handle that. Like, that was fine. The traumatizing part was like prepping for it, thinking that I was gonna feel stuff when you really don't when you have an epidural. So all I felt was pressure, and then they're like, "Oh damn, we're like ready to go," and I was like, "Oh shit." So that was like 8:30 maybe, and I had started. I don't think I pushed but for like 90 minutes. I don't even know. And so I do remember I'm like pushing, and they still have the bed like flat, right? Like, I just did whatever you normally do. You push on your back. I didn't have any requests to do anything like, on your knees or on your side or whatever. I couldn't do any of that. So, and I remember looking like between my legs. First of all, there was a TV at the end of the bed, and it's completely black. And I'm like, I can see what's happening. So we need to turn that TV on or something, and do not turn it on to something dramatic and dark, because it's just going to be another big reflection. And so then they put it on to like the hospital information channel. So they do that, and then I'm pushing, and I look up, and I'm like, it's still too dark. I can still see what's happening. So then they put a sheet over it. I think Zach put a sheet over it. I was like, I can't do this. So, but I'm also looking between my legs, and my doctor's just sitting there at the table like, okay, yep, you're doing good. Okay, you can push. She's not even down there yet. She's just hanging out. And I'm like, what is happening? And I do remember kind of, whatever's in the epidural, whatever they give you to give birth, is like truth serum. Because I just be talking about stuff. I just be saying whatever I feel like. I was telling telling them about how Marcus has these science videos, and how he watches stuff about like how your toenails grow and what a bacteria is. And I was like, he has this one that he watches that it's like about extreme births, and I was like, that sounds like a lot for a 3-year-old, but it's like a kiwi bird lays an egg that's 20% its body weight. Like, it's not really that, traumatizing. And they were like, this lady is crazy. I am sure they were like, she's a wild individual. And so then, I don't know, I'm like pushing and pushing and pushing, and this shit hurts, man. It hurt so much more than it did with Marcus. I do remember that. And then, I'm pushing whatever, and I see my doctor like suit up. She actually went to the bathroom at one point, and I'm like, girl, what? But then I see her like suit up, and they transform the bed, it's freaking Optimus Prime. And then I'm pushing, I bring up the stirrups, and I'm pushing, and I'm like looking at the nurses like I'm about to lose my mind, because the pain is so much. I can't even describe it to you. I'm about to lose my ever-loving mind. And at one point, I'm like, oh my God, oh, this fucking hurts. Like, I'm like screaming profanities and stuff. And at one point, my doctor goes, Morgan. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, I'm sorry. So finally, apparently, this little girl was looking not the normal way that babies look when they are being born. I don't even know. So she's not looking a normal way. That's causing all of the like pain and pressure and whatnot. And so finally, when she comes out, so also backtracking, my water had broken, but it was just like trickling out. This is too much information, you guys. I'm so sorry. But it was like trickling out. And so they were like, you know what? I think that your water has broken, but she's probably plugging it up in there, because she is so far down and so ready to come out that the water cannot come out. So as I'm having this child, I can feel more like water coming out. So then finally she's born, and she is the juiciest baby I have ever given birth to in my life. And I think like the first thing I said to Marcus was, oh my God, your head is a cone. And the first thing I said to Dorothy was, oh my God, you really are juicy. And I mean, they're like suctioning everything out of her, because it happened so fast, and she was plugging up everything that, it's just, there was so much fluid in and around her. So they're sucking all this stuff up, and we have to continue like sucking things out of her for, I don't know, a little while afterwards, because she just got so much fluid in her and around her and in her orifices and stuff, like her nose and her ears and everything. So she was born at 10 p.m. I definitely thought she was going to have my sister's birthday. So my sister was born on October 11th, and this little girl, Dorothy, was born on October 10th at 10:09 p.m. Marcus was born 7:24 p.m., 8:24 at 7:24 p.m., and Dorothy was born on 10:10 at 10:09 p.m. So pretty cool, I think, with the numbers there. So that's pretty much it. And that's her birth story, I guess. And then they handed her to me. She was super juicy. She pooped. And then it took her a while to pee. It took her a while for us to be discharged, because we thought that we'd have to send her for other tests or something, because she hadn't gone to the bathroom yet. I tried breastfeeding, couldn't tell what she was getting. She hadn't, gone to the bathroom. She hadn't peed yet. So we switched to formula, and I've been doing formula ever since. And she's been a pretty great baby so far. She's been sleeping well. She's been doing all that stuff pretty well. So yeah, so that is the gist of the birth story, I guess. It was hard. It was fast. It was hard. It was ridiculous. At one point, they were doing like a generator test. And so at one point, I'm pushing, the lights just go out and the monitors just go off. And they're like, okay, well, so you're just gonna have to tell us when you're ready to push, because we can't see anything on the monitors. And so the lights went out, and I was like, this is great. This is wonderful. But yeah, it was such a quick, I don't know, delivery from 8 a.m. in the morning, 8:30 a.m. in the morning to 10 p.m. that night. And I don't know, I can't believe it. And it was super hard. And the whole ordeal was so much more different than having Marcus. And it's been different than what it was having Marcus. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little birth story video, and like the spread. I will talk to you in my next video. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. Okay, see you later. Bye.